Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so we will go ahead and call the August 11th regular meeting for the Hudsonville Public School Board of Education to order. Thank you for coming, everyone, this evening. We have two board members absent this evening. That is Steve Bowerman and Chad Tuttle. All of the board members are present. Before we move forward into approval of the agenda, we had an unfortunate, a tragic situation earlier this week. And I would like to turn it over to Dr. Vanderjack to share some comments and thoughts regarding Chelsea Storm.
Thank you. Earlier this week, this past Monday, we lost one of our students. We've worked so tirelessly as an administrative team and teaching staff, a community, to raise our kids and to take care of them and to make sure they're safe. And a tragic accident Monday morning and Monday afternoon took one of our soon-to-be juniors way too soon. I ask that you keep Chelsea Storm's family in your thoughts and prayers. She was an active student in our art program, our choral program, and a very, just a nice young lady that was taken too soon. So we can just take a few minutes with a moment of silence to maybe put your thoughts towards the family and friends of Chelsea Storm.
Okay, we move on to approval of the agenda. There's one item to add here at the beginning. I think we have Briella Beamer with us. There, right in front. Okay, joining us this evening as the student council representative, right? And so she'd like to make a few comments. We'd like her to make a few comments as well. So if we can sneak that in right after approval of the agenda. With that amendment, can I have a motion from the board to approve the agenda? Motion by Dawn Seaton. Support from Mark Davis. Any questions or comments beyond that? Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Okay, the agenda is approved. We next move on to Briella Beeman for a student council update.
Hi everyone, I'm Briella Beamer. I'm going to be Student Council's Public Relations Officer this year. I attended a meeting last year, but this was my first time speaking, so I figured I'd give a little information about myself. I am going to be a junior this upcoming year, and I am on the swim team and also the water polo team. So moving on to announcements, we're planning on having the homecoming dance inside due to uncertainty about what the weather will look like. And we've decided that this year's theme will be based off the movie Mamma Mia. So for those who have never seen the movie, what it is essentially a Greek Mediterranean theme with lots of blue and white colors. We are planning on having the dance on October 1st and the powder puff game on September 27th. In addition, this summer we hosted 2 blood drives and look forward to using it as a fundraiser for our fall events. I believe that is all. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Well, welcome. We look forward to hearing from you throughout the year as the year goes on and getting the updates, which we find interesting, and it's good to hear what's going on within the school, and also to throw some challenges out to us as a board to attend blood drives and other activities that are going on. So we appreciate you being here. I look forward to hearing you throughout the school year, and we welcome you. So thank you. Okay, next we move on to consent agenda items. Can I have a motion, please, and a second to approve the consent agenda items?
So
Motion by Barb.
Lord.
Hooper, support by Roy Kapica. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next, we move on to regular action agenda items. We have some human resources, certified hires, and staff changes, and we'll take those as 2 separate motions. So, Ms. Armstrong, will we take those?
Hello and good evening. Yes, I have 3 hires that I am bringing to the board tonight, and I believe most of you got to meet these 3 people on Tuesday as well. First, I would like to recommend Crystal Kingsley for hire as an art teacher at Allward. Crystal actually was a teacher in the district from about 2008 to 2010, then got some high school experience. She has been doing some part-time work at, I believe, Byron Center Charter, and is going to come back to us full-time at Allward. So she's one. The next is Eliza Wieringa, and I do want to make a note board that I apologize. Eliza is being recommended for first grade at Jamestown Lower, and then Jennifer Van Houten is being recommended for fourth grade at Georgetown. Just to let you know, but Eliza Wieringa is it's going to be her first position. She's a graduate of Grand Valley and did a long-term subbing experience in Allendale, comes highly recommended, and we're very excited to have her at first grade at Jamestown. And then Jennifer Van Houten has 7 years of experience in third grade, and then 1 year of experience in fourth grade out of state. And currently she has been at a charter in Grand Rapids, and we're very excited to have her as fourth grade at Georgetown. So those are my 3 recommendations for hire tonight.
Okay, can I have a motion and second to approve the recommended hires, certified hires, as reviewed by Ms. Armstrong with the noted changes that she mentioned? I'll move that. Motion by Mark Davis.
So, second.
Support by Bill Onstein. Any questions or comments on the certified hires? Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next, we move on to the certified staff changes.
Yes, there, as you can see, there's 35 changes within the staff. This is in addition to all the MTSS, PBIS coach positions that I've already brought to you. So these are 35 changes. Just to let you guys know that this will be over 103 staff changes with our hires and our internal changes for the year. So I'm really excited to see the new energies and the new combinations of staff for our students at all the schools. So yes, I recommend for the 35 staff changes that you see before you.
And you're not going to walk through those ones by one.
I was not, no.
Can I have a motion and second, please, to approve the certified staff changes as in the packet and reviewed by Ms. Armstrong?
So moved.
Motion by Mark Huber. Support from Lloyd Kappenka. Any questions or comments on the staff changes? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Great. I'm just going to stand here because I think I have the next one.
Okay, yeah, Hudsonville Bus Association contractors.
Yes, so first I would just really like to acknowledge and thank the bus drivers that worked a lot of days and times. The president, Christy Bako, Vice President Teresa Renz, Secretary Tim Crimbley, along with other drivers that really put a lot of thought and process through the whole negotiation agreement. I also want to thank Rob, our bus driver, that's why I say bus driver, our transportation director, Rob Matthews, sorry, and then of course Pat Briggs. Pat Briggs was fantastic and very pivotal in this negotiation as well. I know that in closed session we have reviewed the changes and reviewed the many different stages of the negotiation cycle, so I would recommend it be approved as is presented to you today.
Okay, can I have a motion and second that the board approve the bus association contract as reviewed by Ms. Armstrong?
So moved.
Motion by Don Stevens, support from Lloyd Kappenka. Questions or comments on the agreement?
Just thank you for your persistence. I appreciate that.
Yes, and understanding the market and what we need to do to be competitive and keep our children transported to and from school safely. So yes, a lot of work.
Team effort, for sure.
Other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you, that's awesome.
Okay, next up, we have board policy revisions and additions, the second reading.
We have second reading for policy 5460, which is the adjustment to the graduation requirements for the online opportunity at Kellogg'sville, the partnership that we've discussed many times. So that, I have not heard any suggestions for changes to that, so that is a recommendation for a second reading and approval. Will go into effect if approved. And then policy 9000, which is the public complaint, how that follows the rest of the process. the adjustments that were made for the first reading. I think you've seen that. There have been no suggested changes from the first reading to the second reading. So that is our recommendation tonight.
Okay, can I have a motion that the board approve the second and final reading of the revisions of Board Policy 5460 and the addition of Board Policy 9130 as reviewed and presented by Dr. Vanderjack?
So moved.
Motion by Dawn Sneeden. Support from Lori Capiga. Questions, comments from the board? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. That's all our action items this evening. We move on to report items, and we have one, the superintendent report.
Yeah, so I'd like to just give a couple, I guess, reports, updates, and some shout outs, right? This past Tuesday evening, we welcomed 51 new staff to a dinner. I know there's a few more, as you just approved 3 more. But several staff, based on the additional positions that we have in the district, Ann and her team, I just want to thank the entire HR team and the administration for all the principals and support that have gone through and interviewed countless candidates and just done a phenomenal job finding top-notch candidates to come to Hudsonville. But we celebrated a dinner with them on Tuesday night, which we've done every year prior to school starting, and it's getting bigger and bigger, which is exciting. More kids, more staff, which is fun. But we got to meet all the new staff and mingle and get a chance to know them a little bit more, which I think is important. So thanks to Ann and her team for organizing that, for our administrators for being there, and for board members that could make it. That was just a great night. I do want to thank Mr. Beal and his team, his administrative team, his counseling team. I want to thank our central office staff. Monday was a hard day for a lot of staff members as well as parents, because we're all parents, and it's really hard when you have a tragedy happen to a student. But I do want to thank Mr. Beal and his team, as well as several staff members that work both at the middle school level, where Chelsea went to school, and at the elementary level, doing what they can to support each other and to support those that are in need during that time. So thanks, Mr. Beal. A few construction updates. I'd tell you all the construction going on at the field house and at the connector. The bottom line is there'll be enough parking for kids when they come back to school on Monday, the 22nd. A lot of the parking lots have been kind of tore up, but we're getting them down, ready to go. So everything should be up and running for us to get rolling on the 22nd, and we'll continue with construction as we move forward. Even 36th Avenue between Baldwin and Bauer, I think it's open. It might be open today. They were looking for today or tomorrow. So I know our transportation department is eager to wait to make sure that's open before school starts. As you'll see behind us, this is actually a board meeting, not a spelling bee. However, I do want to commend our high school students. They are doing a production of the spelling bee. It's got a longer name. Putnam County Spelling. I should know my son's in it. But this is not a plug because my son's in it. It's a plug because our kids are doing this on their own. It is impressive. They've produced it. I want to thank Mr. Blair, Keith Blair, for his work with our kids, just always being there to help them. They appreciate it. I don't say it all the time, but as parents, we appreciate it. But our kids are producing it. If you have time, Friday or Saturday night, it's in this venue, obviously. It's behind us. We'd love to have you come out and just see what our kids can do on stage. We know what they do in the classrooms, but to see them on stage, it's exciting. So that's Friday and Saturday night. This Friday and Saturday. So tomorrow and Saturday. I believe it starts at 7, is that right? Okay. And then I just want to thank one more time our administrative team. We had an amazing administrative retreat last week, and I've not seen so many adults really just dig in and mentally engage in professional development as a team, in conversation, in working through everything to get the school year going. They were just spot on, and it was just impressive. And knowing that they have a exciting year ahead of them, I just want to thank our admin team. You're great to work alongside, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Looking forward to Monday when the kids show up. As you can see, for those of you who have been around, our campuses are starting to come to life between our band. If you were at new teacher orientation, you heard our drum line a lot, which is great. You had an opportunity to see our kids are now running the streets for cross country, and the kids are in the pool for swimming. Water polo is going on. Our kids are on the football field, and we've got soccer going on. it's just exciting time. We are ready for the kids to come in, and looking forward to the 22nd, which is our first day of school. If it can stay 75 without humidity for the next month, actually 6 or 7 months would be great. It probably won't. Last week was our administrative retreat. This week we had new teacher work with Ann and Amy with curriculum, and Mandy spent a lot of time, and Pat spent a lot of time with them. And then next week we have our staff is back. Our welcome back is next Wednesday. Board members, you're welcome to attend if you'd like to see the celebration. We kick off in the auditorium on Wednesday at 8 o'clock for about an hour and a half. And then they have staff meetings next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the 17th. Is when our all our teachers come back, and we put our staff, and we fit them all in the auditorium, in the other auditorium. They won't all fit in this one anymore. So, and then the kids come on the 22nd. So if you're a student sitting here right now, I know you're excited to wake up early on the 22nd. We're excited to see you. So that's my report.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Vanderjack. We move on to recognition of visitors and hearing the people present. Robin will call the names out. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Address comments to the Board of Education. We'll get our timer going here, and Robin will call the names. So as soon as we are set there.
Our first speaker is Keith Lyon-Decker.
As school starts up, I would encourage the board to consider the effectiveness of our school calendar. In particular, what are we achieving by starting school before the Hudsonville Fair? Of course, other than satisfying Dr. Vanderjack's personal animus against the fair, and in particular those barbaric 4-H kids. Our construction crews would probably love another 2 weeks uninterrupted, and as hot as August is, learning suffers in many of classrooms. If I did the schedule, I would maximize summer break to benefit families, students, and effective construction. But I guess I have different goals than Dr. Vanderjack. I was surprised last month when Dr. Vanderjack mentioned monkeypox as the reason to keep and rename our COVID coordinator. The primary mechanism of monkeypox spread has been gay sex parties, where gay men congregate in one area with the expressed intent of having sex with as many random partners as they can get their hands on. I was unaware that this is a risk our HBS students faced, but maybe some of our inclusive friends have been better recruiters than I gave them credit for. There has been a push from some in HBS to talk more about LGBTQ issues, and so in the spirit of unity, I will join them and talk about some of these issues. I dug into some CDC statistics that I think are relevant, particularly as parts of our community push to normalize and celebrate the LGBTQ lifestyle in our schools. So far, 95 to 98% of U.S. cases of monkeypox are among gay men. Gay men also have higher rates of syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV, hepatitis, HPV, and herpes. Gay men have syphilis at rates that are 248 times higher than other males. 2/3 of new HIV cases in the U.S. are among gay men. So what is it about the practices of the gay community that enables the spread of monkeypox from Africa to Europe to 49 states, all in a matter of a few months? Why do they behave in a manner that makes their community an incredible vector for disease transmission? I don't know, I'm not an expert on that community. Maybe one of our other speakers could add some context. As some people seek to promote and even celebrate pride in the gay lifestyle, we should probably take stock of the impact on our young people's health that promoting that lifestyle might take. Certainly, monkeypox is bound to eventually spread outside the gay community, just like HIV eventually did. And if any HBS students come down with monkeypox, we would want to make sure we're careful not to stigmatize anyone who might be so affected. But to cite monkeypox as a risk, as a reason to use taxpayer money to maintain a COVID coordinator might be a stretch at this point. And if we're going to talk to our HBS students more about sex, as some have lobbied here, let's make sure that we're accurate about the risks of homosexual sex versus heterosexual sex.
Thank you for your comments. Yes, Robin?
Mindy Vanden Heuvel.
Mindy Daniel? Okay, not here. Next, Robin.
Lee D. Huff.
Yep.
Evening, my name is Lee D. Huff. It was brought to my attention that the Hudsonville Public Schools must take all kinds of students, even those who call themselves homosexuals or transgenders. I have no problem with that. I have a big problem with the guidance that's given by the Michigan Department of Education regarding how to treat such students. Despite what these experts say, please keep the parents of these children informed. Don't hide it from them. What the Department of Education is saying is parents don't need to know. Yes, they do. You're not helping them by keeping these things secret from the parents. Further, this Board of Education should ensure that the school psychiatrists or psychologists, and guidance counselors do not reinforce the behavior of homosexuals and transgender children. You won't be helping them. You'll be crippling them. And their hearts will be hardened. This is the definition of child abuse. Don't call them by their preferred pronouns. Don't call them by their transgender names. Don't reinforce their behavior in any way. Those who call themselves homosexuals may claim, well, I was born that way. To which I say, yes, I agree. They are born with a predilection toward homosexual behavior, just as all people are born as gossips, as liars, as thieves, as adulterers, and as murderers. This is human nature, and it is depraved. This is why pornographic books are objected to. They will lead the children into sin. You must get rid of them for the sake of the children. To help these young people, your staff, your teachers, your counselors should tell them, you must be born again. John chapter 3 and verse 3. You must put your faith and trust in Jesus. Tell the children these things. They must repent of their sins and they will be saved. Encourage them to read the Bible. God's word is what he uses to give them the rebirth and to save them. Members of this Board of Education, it's time to say, enough is enough. Please stand up for Jesus. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Robin.
Gwen Snoing.
Good evening. Tonight I'd like to highlight the tenets of critical race theory. CRT says we must group people by race. American Liberty says we treat people as individuals. CRT says assume race is a factor in every problem. American Liberty says sometimes race is a problem. CRT says everyone is racist. Well, white people at least. American Liberty says people are innocent until they're proven racist. CRT says all Caucasians are inherently racist. American Liberty says, yeah, some are. Some people are, individuals. We must condemn and cancel racists. American Liberty says we must condemn and reform racism. Then we move on. CRT says we must have public shaming and struggle sessions. American Liberty says we must address discrimination and follow the rule of law. CRT says different rules for different races. American Liberty says the same rules for everyone. There are at least two inherent problems with CRT. How black is black? How white is white? With all the intermarriage that's happened over past decades, there's a million skin colors. And do you know that the CRT theorists encourage adopted children of mixed races to reject their white parents? Secondly, obviously there's many successful people of color and many unsuccessful white people. The CRT explanation is that successful black people are not really black. Our country was founded on the conviction that all people are created equal with certain inalienable rights. People my age know what discrimination really looked like, and I think some of the younger people don't actually know how it used to be. We worked very, very hard to instill laws in our country to stop discrimination. And I think the election of Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012 disproves inherent racism. Just like Kamala Harris, Ben Carson, Clarence Thomas, Condoleezza Rice, Cori Bush, Rosa Parks, Colin Powell, Oprah Winfrey, anybody who has worked in education or has raised children knows that children can be hard on kids. This happens to short children, tall children, slow children, children with speech problems, birth defects, and yes, maybe to children who are Asian, black, Hispanic, and often red-haired kids with freckles.
Thank you, Ms. Snowing. That's been 3 minutes. We appreciate your comments. Thank you. You certainly email them
Specific
to
problems, specific solutions.
Next,
Treat people
Robin.
as
Aaron
individuals.
Doobie.
Greetings, board. I had a very different message to do, but I can't hold it back. You know who's responsible for school shootings? Straight kids. You know who bombed 9/11? Straight kids. You know who causes all of the abortions? Straight people. So let's force straight people out of our schools. Let's make sure that all of our attendance counselors don't call straight people by their own name. This is ridiculous. It has been proven time and time again that supportive adults cause less suicide rates. It is absolutely heartbreaking that a child died on Monday. Are we going to sit here and allow these policies to push our children, our straight, trans, all of our children to commit suicide, and we lose more because of blindsided, hateful policies? No, do not give in to this nonsense. I've stood up here so many times and informed you, and hopefully it's gotten through. LGBTQ plus youth are 5 times more likely to commit suicide than their straight peers. How do we address that? How do we keep the lives of our kids alive? We're not trying to make straight kids gay, we're trying to keep gay kids alive. So how do we do that? We do that with using preferred pronouns. We do that with using preferred names. We do that with rainbow stickers. We do that with showing support and love. And we do that by getting out here and standing up for what is right and saying that those kids' lives matter, that we are not going to sit down and be bullied and listen to people slam our children, because that is not what we are about. You are here to love and protect and make sure every child is loved and affirmed, and that is your job. And I call on you to do that regardless of what anyone else stands up here and says. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doobie. Next, Robin.
Carl
I'm sorry, Robin.
Wiersum. Carl Wiersum.
Good evening. My name is Carl Wiersum. To the board members, Superintendent Vanderjack, and concerned parents, I wrote an email to Dr. Vanderjack and the board on 4/28/2022 regarding sexually graphic literature in Hudsonville Public School libraries and classrooms, asking that these books be removed from the libraries and classrooms. This prompted an immediate response from Stephanie Fast, Public Relations Manager. Stephanie wrote to me. She said, "This is thank you for receiving or reaching out to Hudsonville Public Schools. There are books that are currently in our book review process, but the superintendent does not decide whether a book stays in the library. Parents of students play an essential role in the book review process. The first step in the process is for you to contact your building principal about the book your child or grandchild is reading that you are concerned about. Parents must have the ability to decide what reading materials are appropriate for their children. Our staff will continue to work with parents to ensure each child's needs are met. My response to Stephanie was that this is backwards. You don't review books after they're in the library. You review them before they're in the library. Now, if you say you reviewed the books before they went in, I want to know who reviewed them. So my question is to the board. Are you going to utilize your authority and vote to immediately remove these books from the libraries and classrooms at HPS? If you choose to leave these books in the libraries and classrooms at HPS, be prepared to face either a recall election or a vote for your opponent at the ballot box. My second observation is that there is a push to include radical gender theory in K through 12 public education in the United States. My warning to the board and the superintendent is do not go down that road. For those who don't know what this is, it is a plan to radically change the gender of any student who does not feel comfortable in their birth gender. Some teachers are beginning the process of placing doubt in the minds of 4 to 5 year old students and saying that it is okay to want to be the opposite gender. And then when these students reach pre-puberty, offer puberty-delaying drugs at no cost to them and without parental approval. They will also offer radical gender-changing surgery without parental approval. This is absolutely disgusting and inappropriate for K through 12 education.
Thank you, Mr. Grissom. We appreciate your comments. Feel free to further email those to the board. Thank you. Next, Robin.
Jessica Noble.
What was the name of it?
Jessica Noble.
Members of the board and Dr. Vanderjack, thank you again for your service to the community. I am a parent of 3 Hudsonville students, 2 middle school students and 1 elementary, and I am here to encourage you to continue to put more time and effort into the book review process here. At the end of fall 2021, I shared public comment about books available through a 5th grade book club. I had a follow-up conversation with Amy Taylor regarding the book club process, which I learned included parents being notified of books ahead of time to be able to give approval denial capabilities. However, by the winter semester, I discovered that my 2nd grade daughter, who was diagnosed with PTSD, would not be able to select an appropriate book without parental support, was also participating in a book club, and I was not notified of book club books ahead of time. The teacher even told me she did not know this was a required step in the book club process. Why is that? Within a couple of months after that, that same daughter came home with a book about Nazi Germany. This book included many real details of how Nazis treated Jews that would initiate any one of her PTSD triggers. Yet the parapro simply asked her not to read it and run it by mom and dad before she read it. Why are special needs elementary age students given the responsibility to run it by mom and dad? As a side note, she read it before asking. These 2 instances happened in our home within a few months. How many times is this happening throughout our district? What funds and effort are being put towards educating our teachers on the book process? What measures are being put in place for parents to truly have a say in what their kids are reading? Many of the district's books are within the teachers' classrooms. How are these book selections cataloged and shared with parents? Throughout my daughter's education at HPS, we have been encouraged to not pursue a 504 or IEP, as the teachers have stated they can meet her special needs without it. Unfortunately, time and again, we have continually had to clean up the emotional damage left by inappropriate book content. How many more families are in a similar situation? Our district is investing in the ruler curriculum to educate students about their social emotional needs. Perhaps instead, we can take the time and funds to help teachers understand the depth of students' social emotional needs and how those are displayed in the day-to-day. Additionally, if those needs are not met, how it affects the students and families long-term, like ours. It would seem the seriousness of how book selection and content affects the brain has not been captured or respected. Providing even more parental involvement and eyes in the process would provide more safety for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noble. Next, Robin.
Tiffany Burke.
Tiffany Burke. Tiffany Burke. Okay. Okay. Next, Robin.
Jessica DeYoung.
Jessica DeYoung.
I didn't sign up.
Okay. Next, Robin.
John DeCock.
John DeCock. Okay. Next, Robin.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that is it.
Okay, thank you all for all your comments. We do appreciate them. We do respect what you have to say as a board and take those under consideration as we continue to work on policy procedures, book review procedures, et cetera. So thank you. With that, that's the last agenda item we had. We'll do a board roundtable and then we will adjourn. So, Mr. Davis, anything you'd like to add?
All set, thanks.
Go Eagles. Next week, right? Go Eagles.
A little more than a week. The kids were like, hold
Okay,
on.
well, you know, week and a half. I'm thinking of the staff.
Yeah.
Okay. With that then, can I have a motion please to adjourn?
I'll move that.
Motion by Mark Davis. Support from Barb Cooper. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming this evening.